So Wednesday was a busy day for Brian Kelly. Wednesday morning was the SEC coaches teleconference. That's where he debunked the Nusmeier surgery rumor that had been spreading out there. Well, Wednesday after practice, Kelly met with the local reporters. Wasn't a particularly long media session, but I think of most or of greatest consequence, he did provide some injury updates. And look, LSU, as we all know, kind of was dealing with a little bit against Ole Miss. Whatever Nuss is dealing with, you didn't have Caden Durham. You lost Weston Davis in pregame. You lost Aaron Anderson, your leading receiver, in the first half. You lost Paul Mubenga in the second half. So you were kind of going through some injury stuff there. First of all, just one footnote on Nuss. I'm going to play 9 first, Muse, because Brian Kelly said on Wednesday on the teleconference when he debunked the actually, do you have that where he debunked the surgery rumor? But most important, aside from saying it was silly, it's unfounded. I think most important when he was talking about the Nusmeier thing was him talking about being through the worst part of it. He's on the backside of the injury, and that he's getting healthier, and they expect him to be closer to 100% against. You have this was it. Okay, go ahead.
Early on, he had an ab strain, not a core injury in terms of what a core injury
what does
we
that
deal
mean?
with.
What does that mean?
It's been slow to heal, but as I had mentioned, he's on the backside of that, and he's getting rest this week, and he'll be the Garrett Nussmeier that he needs to be as we get into the very difficult part of our schedule.
Okay, so if Nussmeier's on the backside of the ab strain or whatever it was, okay, remember, we saw him look really good physically against Southeastern, right? I think we can all agree to that, right? Whatever might have slowed him, he looked physically really good against Southeastern. And so then they have the performance they did against Ole Miss, which made a lot of people beg the question, like, is he hurt? Well, it stands to reason that he wouldn't have regressed. So Brian Kelly was asked point blank, like, did he have a setback during practice or during the game?
Not to belabor the point on Nuss, but did he aggravate that ab strain at any point before or during the game against Ole Miss?
No.
And he actually gave another, no. I mean, that was it. Just one word answer. So all that to say, listen, I'm not going to convince you of anything, regardless. Like, you've made up your mind, and that's fine. The only thing that will be convincing in any way is what we see with our eyes a week from Saturday against South Carolina, and we'll all see then. But apparently, Nuss is through the worst of it. He's on the other side of it. He's resting this week. He's healing. Did not have a setback last week or against Ole Miss. They're letting Van Buren take all the first-team reps this week. And so we'll see how that looks whenever they get ready to go play South Carolina. It's what Brian Kelly told us after the Florida game, that they wouldn't be able to shut him down until the bye week and then get him 100%. We'll see if he does look more like the Garrett Nussmeier we've become accustomed to see. But I maintain, as we've talked about, that's less about the torso, and that's more about the offense and the offensive line. Well, there are a couple of offensive line injuries that LSU is dealing with, of course. Weston Davis was injured in pregame. I was told it was concussion. Brian Kelly confirmed that on Wednesday.
Weston got hurt in pregame. Caught a helmet, fractured his nose, and was concussed. So he had a head injury as well. He's moving forward. He's doing well. My expectations is that he can clear the protocol, but that's one thing I never like to get into with the protocol in terms of who can and who can't. But he's moving in the right direction.
What I was told on Thursday is they do believe, I was told internally that they do believe Davis will be available. Paul Mubenga, however, is a little more up in the air.
Paul's got a high ankle sprain. So some respond better than others. He's an offensive lineman, as you know. Braylon had one as well. So we're going to play it day by day.
I think one of the real interesting questions that could come of all this is if Paul Mubenga is not able to go with that high ankle sprain, what do they do at left guard? And is it as simple as saying, okay, well, Cohen Eccles has been that guy there. Do you go Cohen Eccles? Or do they go with DJ Chester, who's kind of been the sixth man who's rotated in? I think it's very telling that to start the second half of the game, when Chester was able, remember he was suspended for the first half because of targeting, and Kern started the game at right tackle. In the second half, Chester was able to go in. They stuck with Kern. And then when Mubenga got hurt, they didn't go to Chester. They put Eccles in. which makes you wonder, is Eccles bumped down a bit, and has Kern maybe elevated? I thought when Brian Kelly was asked on Wednesday after looking at the film what he thought of Kerry's Kern, I thought this comp was very appropriate.
He reminded me of Emory Jones as a true freshman. If you remember, Emory technically was not very sound, but he was, fighting for dear life and was really active, had a lot of hustle errors, but he's hustling and playing physical. It's just, it's hard to be a technician at this point. So we're going to take what we can get from him, and that's hard play, physical play, can move some people.
For whatever it's worth, if you look at the Pro Football Focus grades, your lowest graded pass blockers are Weston Davis and Cohen Eccles. And remember, Brian Kelly said on Wednesday, the thing that they're trying to work on in the bye week is more efficiency and effectiveness and explosiveness in the pass game, where my contention has been you need to get better running the football. Kelly said you need to get better. They need to get better doing what they do really well, which is throwing the football. Okay. Well, you got to be able to keep Garrett Nussmeier upright. Well, your two lowest graded offensive linemen pass blocking are Weston Davis and Cohen Eccles. Your highest graded pass blockers, Josh Thompson, Paul Mubenga, who's questionable. Number 3 is Kerry's Kern. Kelly kind of alluded to it there. Kern's kind of running out there, maybe not exactly sure where to be all the time, but he's got a little piss and vinegar in him. And he is a physical, athletic, big dude that's looking to get in pads and move bodies. And maybe you need a little bit of that. Like maybe it's one of those things where you realize there's going to be some missed assignments, but he's going to do it full speed with a lot of aggressiveness. I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't know. I'm not giving you the answer to the test here. I really don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of Kerry's Kern against South Carolina. You have an open date. You got to see him start at right tackle. They liked what they saw a little bit. And it may come to pass, like it may be, that they think Kerry's Kern's one of their best 5. I mean, I'll remind you again, 12 days before LSU played Clemson in the opener, which feels like an eternity ago, considering what we've seen. 12 days before that game, Kerry's Kern was taking first-team reps at right tackle. And remember, that was the first time we saw anyone other than Weston Davis running with the first team at right tackle, and that was the first time we saw Kern at right tackle, period. So it's not like they were just rotating him in with the 2s to get him his feet wet at right tackle. He was taking first-team reps at right tackle 12 days before the opener. So this is clearly someone they've identified that they like a lot, that might be one of their best 5, and as you're looking for answers on your offensive line right now, it might be the big 5-star freshman. Brian Kelly said it himself. He's not afraid to play freshmen. They played Will Campbell. They played Emory Jones. Kerry's Kern may emerge into that spot, be it at right tackle for Weston Davis or at left guard for Paul Mubenga, however it may play out. Something worth watching this week. And maybe finally, and maybe most important, is Caden Durham. Look, I've harped a lot on the running game, as I know of a lot of you. And I think a lot of the root cause of the problems in the running game are your offensive line and your offensive coordinator's unwillingness to call running plays. I think that's the core. Like, you can't be good at running if you don't try. They had 2 instances in the entire game against Ole Miss where they ran the ball on consecutive plays. 2, that's it. Like, you've got to show a commitment to running the ball. Well, your offensive line has been a problem, the unwillingness to do it, and that's magnified on Saturday against Ole Miss when you didn't have Caden Durham, who's your best running back. Suffered the ankle injury against Southeastern, didn't play. Brian Kelly gave the update on Wednesday.
He was better today, much better. We ran him in our run tracks and some team run. If he continues on this path, I'm pretty optimistic that he'll be in good shape for next week.
So that's maybe the best news of all of that there, because if part of the unwillingness to run the ball against Ole Miss was Caden Durham's absence, his return would be certainly welcome. So it sounds like Durham should be ready to go against South Carolina. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.